Hello everybody, very good evening to all of you. I'm Richa Agarwal, CEO of Emami Art and KCC, and very excited and happy, humbled and grateful to be able to bring to you the third edition of the Emami Art Conversation series, and today being the day 4 of this series. I'd like to welcome Jayashree, and thank you so much, Jayashree, for agreeing to be a part of the talks and being so interesting and thoughtful. A little brief about, or I'd like to share Jayashree's bio with you. Jayashree Chakravarty was born in Koi, Tripura, 1956. She completed her bachelor's in fine arts from Vishwabharati in the sprawling natural environs of Shantiniketan, and then obtained her postgraduate diploma in fine arts from the MS University of Baroda, where she was exposed to an urban sensibility. She was also an artist in residence at the Aix-en-Provence from 1993-95, where she was influenced in the formative years of her practice by the French movement, supports, surfaces, especially by Claude Billard. She spent her early years in Kolkata, in the proximity of hills and forests, thereby coming across a variety of flora and fauna. Soon the township became a concrete jungle, with few traces of the natural past left behind. This influenced her paintings, where the old and new cityscapes are melded with a fine expertise. An occasional bird, a broken window, or a big brick wall emerge out of the mossy hue and moldy texture of some of the works. Inventing her own art-making techniques, using organic material and varied kinds of papers, her installations in the form of paper scrolls remained unique in their conceptions and execution. Her works are autobiographical and dreamlike in nature. Her ink on paper sketches are exercises in transition and transform personal experience into mystical truth. She experiments with an exciting variety of media like rice paper, tissue, and cellophane. In her works, she uses superimposed forms, quite like the sketches that cave printers worked on before they mapped them on the walls of caves. Her imagery, because of her fluid and transparent images, reflect the present mood of the world, which is fluid in itself. At a mere conventional and figurative level, her works reflect the unity of man with nature. Motifs such as dogs, waves, and serried crescent shapes recur in her works. She received the Gujarat Lalit Akademi Award and the second Bharat Bhavan Biennial Award in 1988. She has also been honored with the Bombay Art Society Award, Mumbai, 1980, and Honourable Mention Award, Asian Art Biennial, Dhaka, Bangladesh, 1997. To name a few, the artist lives and works in Kolkata. Thank you so much, Jayashree, for being a part of the conversation. And over to you now, Ushmita.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot to everyone who are with us.
Jayashree, welcome. It is a great honor to have you with us here today. Before we start, I welcome all our viewers on Zoom as well as on Facebook Live. Please do remember to write in your questions on both platforms, and we will try and accommodate as many as we can. So, Jayashree, before we begin to look at your works and your images and discuss your concerns, please do give us a background about your early years. I know that you were born in Tripura, you studied in Shantiniketan, then you went to Baroda, and from there on you went to study in France, and I think lived there as well for some time. So how did these early years frame your ways of seeing?
Yes, I was born in Tripura, and actually when I was in the school, at that time only I took the fine arts. So it was not easy initially, but then my parents also thought that this is good for me. And after school, I joined, I think, Shantiniketan, and it's a very different atmosphere. I was really lucky to be at that time in 1973. I joined there, and it was a really fantastic atmosphere. And from Tripura, when I reached Shantiniketan, it was not a very big difference, because it was definitely like Rabindranath Thakur's place, and totally different atmosphere. But outside the Shantiniketan, the villages and the landscape all around, it was so green and so beautiful, which was really good for me, because I was not in a place like where it is all buildings and concrete jungles, and nothing was there. So it was really good. So this all these 5 years, like we studied as we were in Shantiniketan. So it was a fantastic uh, time, because Kinkoda was there, and also at that time all the works that we could see in a much better condition. Then also in the museum um, in the London, there was the collection of Rabindranath Thakur's gifts, and I could see all of those work, the many scrolls, and fantastic rubbing sort of work, Chinese, Japanese, and many other artwork. So that was a big education, and this experience definitely, it counts a lot. It teaches a lot without really. It's not a book or anything, but you are seeing the actual work. So that becomes really, a very necessary thing, actually. And after that, I left for Baroda, and Minda was actually there. Like when I was in fifth year, I think fourth year and fifth year, and he was there. So I asked him if I can go to Baroda. He said yes, and I reached there. And as usual, I thought that it would be some kind of adjunct test, and he was never asking me for any test or anything. So I was really looking forward. One day Manida will tell me that yes, this is the time to sit for the test. But then one day I asked that, do I go to the class and what do I do? Because I'm supposed to give a test, and then you will tell me that I can get admission or not. But he said, no, it's everything is done. You go and you start your work. So that was
Lovely.
fantastic. One another thing was, there that as I was in Shantiniketan, I used to take my canvas out in the nature, and I used to paint there. In 2-3 hours, I used to do like whatever the essential thing I am supposed to do. So the painting I actually made in a open air, like in a landscape, in the paddy field or wherever it is. Like I did it there only.
So
So
were
when I
you,
came to Baroda,
can I interrupt a little bit here? So when
yes,
you were in Shantiniketan and you were doing landscape studies, did the landscapes by the masters like Nandalal or Vinod Bihari, did that play in your mind? And especially when you talked about the scrolls, the collection of scrolls in Rabindranath's gifts, and I have also seen a few, and they are beautiful landscapes. So did that also play
of course.
correctly?
Of course. That is what I was saying, that the work itself was the teacher.
Hmm.
Like was not. I mean, it's always against the. It
Yes.
can teach everything. So and the most important thing in Shantiniketan, whatever we are seeing, the artist's work, like Vinod does work or Kinkor does work, even Rabindranath Thakur's work,
Hmm.
it's like it's there. You see it actually in the nature. You experience it, and you see it in color and line, and so this was something. Like, there was one place like I used to go this shimul tree. Shimul tree, I do not know what is the English thing word for it,
It's some
but
kind of a cotton wool, cotton tree.
you get a kind of con. These huge trees. There was about 4 or 5 trees like that, and I used to go and paint it only. Now, I have seen I mean, Master Moshai's work, that Vinod's work, Godda's work about that particular tree. And when I was doing, it's not that I was doing something new, but I was trying to bring what I'm seeing. So right from the beginning, that was there, that what I am seeing, I am, I was trying to note down that in the form of painting or in the form of sketch, whatever it is. So this was my regular practice. I mean, right from the beginning.
So how did
Now, like,
things, sorry, how did things change once you moved to Baroda and then later to France? Because as I know it's written in your CV, also it mentions that, you were,
yeah, this Baroda thing I am trying to tell you.
yeah, tell me.
Uh, Bar- Baroda was like when I tried to take my canvas outside the faculty. That was a big problem. I went to a place nearby, but then when I coming back, so I was inside the bus, and the bus conductor was very much unhappy because it was full of color and very thick color. So he was not very much ready to bring me back to the place. But then somehow explained, I spoke to Manida, and Manida said, okay, if you can do whatever you are seeing here in the faculty or nearby, you should do that. And instead of thick color, you can do it with stroke, like with the thin brush and some strokes. So all those things you can bring by that. So that was kind of the point that I started doing things which is a bit like miniaturist approach. But my canvases were not very small or anything. Always the smallest size was 3 by 3 feet, 3 feet by 3 feet. So
Right.
now so this is how that I worked in Baroda and came back to Calcutta afterwards. And there, while in Baroda, I wanted to do some figurative work, but I couldn't really manage doing it. And then when I came back to Kolkata, I wanted to do something new again. And then that was like the beginning of doing figurative work, and very colorful. There was fantasy in it. So my figures were not just always standing or doing something. They were also floating figures also were there. So that was a beautiful time that with the fantasy and reality to mix
Mixed
together,
together.
and using enormous amount of colors. So it was another kind of thing. Then I got this residency or something in France. So I went there, and then I started. I saw that is something else totally. And in the École de Beaux-Arts, there was this Andre Valenzi, who is with certain surface, and he always he used to speak English, so I could communicate with him. So he explained how it is that support and surface group are like, I mean, they are keeping just one bamboo or one wooden stick, and then putting some um, um, fabric on the wall, and giving the support with the wooden stick. So
Right.
this is a piece of art.
Mm.
Or the repetitive forms, like Claude Viala, who did repetitive forms. And he feels that we make this similar gestures make, and it's always repetitive gestures. And so this is how that repetition comes in the work. And then also that taking out the canvas is free from the stretcher. The
Right.
canvas is just on its own it can hang without the stretcher. So the limitation is not there, bindings are not there. So it's a kind of free um, uh, feeling
Right.
is there that I'm doing something which can stand or which can be on the wall without the support or anything. So I mean something else. So
Right.
then that really I mean was a very big inspiration.
Right.
And I started working over there with paper and raw canvases.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I lost all my money there. So it was stolen. And so I went to the lot of students. They gave me raw canvas, and I used to go to the Gujarat well is dustbin, and then the students to throw their papers, and
Mm-hmm.
also in the office. So all the papers I collect, I used to then from that I used to create my work. So it was like I couldn't speak French language initially, nothing I could speak, and then uh, I want to communicate through this language, visual language. So
Right.
that was the another
Very
that is
interesting.
how I started doing paperwork, and I wanted to suspend it because the freestanding thing.
Yeah.
I wanted
We
to
will.
suspend it, and light started
Right.
passing, and so it took
Let's come to that
a
a little.
spiral.
Yeah, let's come to
So
that a
that
little later.
started there.
Maybe we can start looking at your work, and then we can go from there.
I could hear you.
Can you see?
I
Can
could
you?
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Can
Okay.
you see
Yes.
the?
Yes. I can
Okay.
see.
So we start with
Yeah.
your early
Yes.
paintings, and I've seen that in your very early works there's a mixture. We encounter this mix of urban and nature and human presence. But then I still feel that, even in these paintings where you have the urbanity or urbanism and also the human presence, still nature kind of wants to take over. So that I find very interesting. If you can talk a little about this aspect of your work, where slowly the human figure is negated in later works and nature takes over. But this is perhaps a juncture where it's all there. Uh, so can you just tell your views about this?
Yeah. This particular, I mean, this is the time that when I was already in Salt Lake, and the place that where I live now. Now, like when we reached here, that was 1983, and it was hardly any houses were in block. There was. Uh, I mean, two, three houses were there. So at that time, the human figure and the nature, the open nature, that's there. I mean, that I started coming. So these are the work that I was doing, kind of my neighbors. I worked with this idea for quite some time, that the neighbors and how they are here, like
Mm.
around we are together kind of thing. That kind of thing I started doing.
Right.
So but it changed gradually. It was not that
Yeah.
right from the beginning I felt that where whose land it is, and who used to be here. Though like, when I was very young, I used to come from Tripura, and I used to see that it was a my land, and then there was like it was people used to fill with the sand this area. So it was the land was like not the way it is right now.
Right.
It was uh, some areas where it was a big water body actually. It
Mm-hmm.
was uh, uh, very so when I started questioning myself, that was about 2000. 1, 2, that it started coming in my mind that in whose land we are in,
Right.
and what happened to these things. So this particular work you are showing, that
Yeah.
one is like done in 2008-9,
Yeah.
and it is about the fishes that I thought that this in this kind of this water body, like long ago there was a kind of tsunami kind of thing, a
Hmm.
big cyclone, and that at that time it seems that sea water came in, and so I thought that maybe the huge fishes were here. So it's
Hmm.
again a kind of fantasy, again a kind of just I thought of it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
there is
But I think even if it combines fantasy, it is tinged with reality, and you have had lasting concerns about ecology and what the effect urbanization has on ecology, and especially in a place like Salt Lake, where you have seen the marshy land and the natural habitat being slowly completely disappearing. So I think that imaginative has a root within the real. And do you think in that sense you are quite deeply engaged with the idea of the Anthropocene? Can you hear me, Joyshidi?
no, I can't hear.
Shreyasi, can you hear me?
Ma'am, you're clear, but Joyshri is facing some internet issue, I think.
I think so as well. Joyshri, I think you are facing some internet issue. Would you like to log back in? Or maybe you can try and speak now. It could be a passing problem as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better now. Yes. So what I was, if I may repeat myself quickly, is that I think you were talking about imagination, but I feel personally that the imagination is rooted in reality, and thus shows
Yes.
this deep engagement with the idea of the Anthropocene. Do you agree with me on that?
Mm. It's, whatever the sound is coming, it's break. But yeah, I can answer you. Yes, this of course a deep engagement, because I was thinking about it again and again. And
Jaishridi, if I may stop you, I think it would be,
Let me just call her up and tell her.
yeah. Jaishridi, could you log back in? There's some network issue at your end. It would be good if you can just log back in. Hello? While we wait, we can just have a look at a few more images. Shresi, are you calling her?
Yes, I'm just
Okay,
trying to get to her.
thank you. Please bear with us. The network is a little problematic. At my end, I am having a thunderstorm in Shantiniketan. So I was wondering whether I would go offline, but
She's logging in again.
okay, that's good. Please bear with us. I'm sure this will be sorted out quite soon. Meanwhile, enjoy her beautiful drawings and works. Uh, Shirsi, is she logged out again?
No, ma'am, she's there. I think she's unable to pick. Jayashree, can you just speak to her?
Yeah, she's okay now. Rashidi, can you hear me?
Is it okay?
Yes, I can hear you and see you
Yeah.
now. Yeah, good. So I was just showing a few of your images while you were logging back in. So
Yeah.
we were discussing your engagement, deep engagement with the idea of ecology.
So I just quickly go that what I was doing, intend to do. Yeah. So do you hear now?
Yes.
Okay. So it was like as I started like in 2008 was doing that what it was I want to actually wanted to bring that matter also. At the same time, what it is right now that gradually tremendous, I mean, it's turning into concrete jungle and it's very suffocating and full of buildings only, and that we don't really enjoy anymore the nature. So around, I mean, those are the things that I could see in the place that where I'm living, and at that time I thought that it happens to every new township, like whatever what it is, it takes shape. So that is how that I felt, that whatever I'm making, I should address that. So this is how I started doing things in that way.
Right. So
But later on, that in 2014, 15, I started working mainly in labor, and I wanted to use the plants, medicinal plants, which is actually from people do not want it anymore in their houses, so they just throw away.
yeah,
And
so
I used to pick it up from the street and used to
yeah.
paste it on the paper.
So
So
Jashidi, the drawings that we are looking at right now, they are quite recent. Uh, so, I have a feeling that I look at your work in a sense that I think that these are a very contemporary renegotiation or a reworking or a relooking and reassessment of the genre of landscape. A landscape painting is not really, just when a faithful representation of a landscape. Here I think you are playing with the concept of what a land was and has become and what it could be. So in that sense, there's political, social, critical ideas embedded in these works. So do you agree with what I feel, or is there something you would like to add?
like the all the word coming like with some gaps, and I couldn't understand
Okay,
the
I,
full
I will repeat.
sentence.
I will repeat. I said
Yes.
that I feel when I look at your practice from the last few years that as you're
Mm.
engaging with the land, uh, it kind of feels to me a renegotiation of the genre of landscape, but in a very contemporarized manner, where you
Mm.
are
Right.
working with the concept of a land, its past, its present, and its future, and what it could be. So I feel in
Yes.
that sense, it involves, politics. It involves the idea of social responsibility. It also inhabits the space of criticality. So would you agree with me on this count?
To some extent, I agree. It is more mainly that I witness whatever I'm seeing, and I have got drawn to nature. I'm drawn to the natural lines. Those are the areas that I mainly look for, and that's what uh, I'm trying to do. What I'm seeing, I'm doing that. uh, I do not know, like the many other things are there, but this is how I do. I mix many things, and that is what I am trying to bring in my work.
Right. So about these paperworks, and I'm not talking about your paper constructions where you embed things. We will come to that a little later. So about these paperworks, could you tell the young artists who are watching, could you discuss a little bit about your drawing and painting processes in, in these works that I am showing right now? Because there's a lot of layering. I can see there's a lot of and I know that you take months and years sometimes to do a work. You keep coming back to them, and you keep renegotiating with what it was. I've even heard you sometimes say that what started out several years ago as a portrait or a human figure has now turned into a landscape because you kept on working on it. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Coming, nothing.
You could not hear me?
Nothing. But this did said, I mean, while doing the drawing, for me, I also
Jayashree,
Ma'am, just we'll ask her to keep her video off.
I think so. Jayashree Di, I think she's logged out. Can you call her back, please?
Yeah, I'll just call her and tell her to keep her video off.
Yeah, that would be good. Jayashree Di, can
yeah.
you keep your
Do
video
you hear
off?
me?
Can you keep your video off? Then maybe the sound might be better, because I think network issues জন্য আমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছি না তোমাকে একেবারে।
I think my phone is disturbing.
Don't worry, we are here. Just switch it off and switch it back on if you
Is it
need.
okay?
Yeah, it's better you keep your video off and just soundটা এলে ঠিক হবে, অসুবিধা হবে না. You can come back with your video towards the end.
Start you. Oh,
Yeah. Can you speak?
Yeah, I can speak.
Yeah, this is much clear. I'll also minimize my this thing. So
I can see, but do you hear me?
yes, very clearly, very clearly.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
let me just quickly come back to the question again.
Yeah.
We were talking about, I was just asking, can the images that I'm sharing right now, can you talk about the process of drawing and painting? I'm not talking about the paper constructions, because we can come to that later. So I know that you sometimes take years to complete a work, having started it several years ago as a figurative work, and then you complete it as a landscape. You rework, you're never satisfied with what you've done. So can you tell us a little bit about this process?
The process of drawing or process
Yeah.
of painting also?
The drawing and painting on paper, but not your paper constructions. ওটা আমরা পরে কথা বলবো।
Because drawing, these are actually on paper I have done. I mean, the one you are showing right now, these are absolutely like drawing on paper with pencil and graphite, and then colored pencil. So this is the kind of work, and in many layers, definitely, because it takes, I mean, and I wanted to bring the natural line. So that is how it started, and also a kind of abstract quality also keeps coming, like, so that is what I was doing for these works. But on canvas also I did paste paper, and that like you showed little earlier, that some
I'm trying to go
these
back
are the
to
thing.
that.
So there are paper strips, and there are papers, then there are other materials that I have used on. Um, so some are just the colors and not much of paper and jute and all those things I didn't use in everything. But in the later period, right now, that whatever I am doing on canvas, they're much more the way I do treat my paperwork. I'm trying to bring it in the on my canvas also.
Hmm. So, so what is this idea of coming back to complete a work which you may have started many years ago? How does that happen?
No, not these are the works that I am doing now, like
Hmm.
during this lockdown time.
Acha,
So
okay.
that is where like I'm I'm just trying to complete that what I didn't complete before. So this is in the lockdown period that I can't go out and maybe like I have got I don't feel like creating something new immediately. Some I am doing definitely, but there are, as I have time, so I'm trying to complete certain work that which I didn't feel that yes, it's complete and I want to do it again.
Right.
So I'm just doing it. That's all. I mean, but what you are showing, none of them are here.
Acha. So,
But
of
I
course.
have a tendency. I have a tendency that when I see my work, which is already done,
Hmm.
when 2 years ago or something, and if I get that with me, and if I feel like, then I like to touch little more and try to rectify certain areas that so that it becomes little different, but remains a similar thing. But I try to make it better
Right.
in my way.
Right. That's an interesting take. You know, for I think your work never, in your mind, you want to keep improving
It
what
is
you
never
have.
complete. Like never work is never complete. Yeah, work keeps going on. Like it's never complete.
Right. So we come to this, section where I have put together some of your earlier paper constructions, and it's
Mm.
interesting that I've heard you mention that although you think of yourself primarily as a painter, you've always wanted to enter into and experience the space inside your paintings, and that's how this whole experiment started. You started creating these free flowing forms, and also, as you mentioned, when you were in France, you started doing this as well. So while we see these images, could you walk us through your concepts behind coming out from the paper or the canvas and bringing it into almost a sculptural form?
Yeah, these are the works that after coming back from France, I took some time to build this kind of thing. So this was about 10, 11 pieces that I made, and it was shown in a drawing center in New York. And I wanted to create a place like that particular space. I wanted to create in such a way so that people can enter into my work, and there were it was really like in that way it was successful that people could go in and could
Hmm.
enjoy whatever I did on that paper, and this kind of paper roll also that people can go inside and outside, like one
Yeah,
can
it
enjoy.
becomes
So that is
almost
what.
like a sculpture where you walk 360-degree around it, and sometimes you even enter it, experiencing it literally, being enveloped by it.
Yes, it is. It is. Uh, so I always wanted it to like work will stand in front of me. It will. I'll be able to see it. Not the kind of that you can feel it and you can go all around it. But I wanted to do painting, not a sculpture only. Like it can become, it look like a sculpture, but it is a painting essentially.
And it's a painting, almost a scroll-like work of a landscape which has cities, rivers, mountains, and I think even figures hidden within its folds, right?
Yeah.
So in a sense, then, do we again come back to your experience of the scroll, where, the birth of a river can be taken into how the river flows through the land and into the sea. So is that also again something that inspired you in these works?
It is always the scroll is the main point that I started with, and from there the way it develops, the way because every time the desire of making it even more concrete or even more with the form, I want to bring a kind of form into it. So those things. It's gradually it started coming like but the main the initial area was definitely the scroll, and from there everything is taking shape.
And material wise, these were mostly paper, different kinds of paper, and what is the material, the paint that you're using?
It is fabric is cotton fabric is there, and at the same time the on both sides there are many layers of papers are there, and in those layers the color is there, the lines are there, jutes are there, but initially I didn't use much of that organic material, and which lately I have started using it.
So what paint is this? Is it tempera? Is it acrylics? What kind of
Paint
colors?
is often is either art color or acrylic. Sometimes thin oil I have used, charcoal I have used. So whatever I can, it is with me mud, sand, ashes, anything,
Coffee also.
So
I've heard you say that you also have used coffee stains.
coffee stain, and so it came later. I mean, not with this. When I was doing these works, the alien sphere, that time I started using tea stain mainly. Uh, but
And
at this moment, the work I'm doing here is much more organic material I'm using.
yeah. So here we come to one of your important, freestanding installations, Cocoon, and you have reworked it, and it has been shown again in several times in some important exhibitions. I think this is the first time I see a lot of the use of images of insects and butterflies, and also the term cocoon.
Yeah,
So can you
it,
tell us?
it
Yeah.
it's it's a cocoon, and actually, I did it in this way that when there is any natural catastrophe or anything, then all the insects or they are as if imagining that they are coming together, sitting together.
Mhm.
So as if there is something is going to happen. But then when I started, it was quite a closed form, the cocoon. But then I started opening it, because when I did that, at that point I realized that it looks like ribs. So I started opening it up, and
Hmm.
it's a kind of that kind of rib kind of quality is coming into it.
Right.
More and more, it became more, I mean, obvious. So, and then also the lighting, and I reworked, but several times I worked on it, and it is not a kind of aluminum strip inside, so which is where I can give it a shape.
Which almost acts like
And
its spine and ribs and the inner,
yes,
skeleton of
at
the
this moment,
work.
maybe like I'm thinking of even like opening another one, like another part, another small
Hmm.
circle. So I spoke to Rubina ji that I will open that part. So she said,
Right.
yes, you can do that.
Right.
I may add another piece also. I do not know. But I always want to revisit the work, and always want to come back to that experience,
Hmm.
and want to do it again and again, so that it can have another kind of mm,
So,
I mean,
yeah, it can be read again anew. It can take on a different. It's almost like the butterfly. Like you have used a lot of butterfly images, and it's almost like a butterfly opening its wings again. So I get, you're trying to what perhaps you're trying to say.
maybe Mane, you can see it in whatever way you want to see. But while working, I'm seeing it in a different way. That if I can do more work, do it. So never a process for me. I can always work. I can go on working. It's never ending for me.
Right. So
And it's a learning process actually. Always learning from the work. Like
right.
I do one work, there is I learn something from there. The next work I'm doing, I'm learning something little more over there. So I want to come back to the first one to develop that one. So in that process, it may become better. It may not be better also. It can become worse also.
Right.
So I don't know. Whatever it is, I like to accept it in that way.
Right. So I feel that an exciting turn comes into your work when you start inserting these real foliages and flowers, and as you said, medicinal plants, weeds, seeds, and a lot of other plant organic material within your paper construction. So, and oh my God. And somewhere you also mentioned that you kind of equate this embedding conceptually to life and death, and that you have compared the living and the dead
Hello?
I think Ushmita's network might have just dropped. Uh,
Okay.
Jayashree, maybe you can just continue on
Yes,
explaining.
I can continue. Um, Actually, life and death, yes, that comes like in the beginning, that when I started working in this way, that I started using organic material. It's like I saw my neighbors, or even from our house, everything is like the unwanted weeds we used to throw away on the street, and those are mostly used to be just medicinal plants. And gradually I thought of picking them up, and wanted to fit in between papers and cotton fabric. And that is how it took shape in that way. And initially it was the scrolls, and then it became the backlit scroll. And backlit idea came from the idea of X-ray, that as my father was a doctor, and he always and I also always at home. So that is how, like, I wanted to create that backlit
yeah, Tracy,
work.
I'm back.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, hi, Ushmit.
I'm sorry, there was a huge
Yeah, Ushmita.
lightning
Yes, hi.
here, and so yeah, there was a tremendous lightning burst here,
Yeah,
and
so these works are,
yeah. So what I was asking, can you hear me, Jayashree?
yes, these works are like X-ray
Yeah,
kind
we
of
can hear
thing,
you.
kind of.
Yeah. So I think you referred to your father, who was a doctor, and how you were inspired by this idea of the X-ray plate. Um, so and I also feel that
Yeah.
adding light, you kind of metaphorically illuminate the secrets that have been embedded into it. Hello.
Yes. Do you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. So perhaps we can now talk about your, process and how you collect material and how you go through this whole idea of bringing nature into your works. So while I'm showing these next images, you can walk us through your process.
Yeah, it's a nearby area that I go and collect my material, and especially during the summer, not in monsoon, there are many things that I can find over there. Like a lot of parasite roots are there, so I enjoy bringing them and process them and working with all those things. Otherwise, sometime with the uh, some leaf also I bring that which is like a um, insect bitten kind of. So I use those also sometime, but it is always something or other, something new, something different. Sometimes it's a totally dry. I mean, uh, dry leaf and pods. Those are the things I'm using. Some seeds. So when I feel like collecting is there, like in 5 minutes walk, and I go and collect my thing. So
Right.
this is how I'm doing.
And you're layering them with various kinds of papers and like you said, cotton cloths, sometimes tissue papers, um, and then you make these into very stiff structures, right?
Yes, sometimes like it's like several layers of paper and several and maybe one or two cotton fabric is there sandwiched in between layers of paper. So these like either Nepali paper or tissue paper. So these are the two material mainly I'm using, and it's
Right.
very. I mean, if it is not non-translucent and all, then I'm using brown paper also. So brown paper makes it very stiff, leather. It becomes actually leather-like,
Right.
very like leather. Like you can't. I walk on it. I can lie down and I can do my yoga practice also. No problem. So nothing happens to it actually.
And the glue that you are using, is it a natural glue that you make?
Yeah, so it's been I've been doing it since so long now. I started in 1992 or three probably, and since then I have been working continuously. It's a lot of time actually. Many years I have been working on it. This kind of paper. I'm creating this kind of paper.
Right. And so these are, I think, some trial images of your works before you showed a series, a very important series at the Musée Guimet. So I
Yes,
found these very
yes, that
evocative
was
images.
very much site specific and
And so it was created specifically
yeah,
for the
it
Musée
was very
Guimet.
site specific.
Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
this
And
this work was very site specific. When I saw the space at that point, uh, I had some. I knew that with the spaces like this, but I gave the proposal. This is how I'm going to uh, use the space. And this insect, it's a kind of big insect I prepared that which is taking rest in the nature. So like this actually the feeling that we are going through, that too many buildings, too many things, which is very disturbing to some extent because no nature around. So that is how like I thought that I wanted to bring that. Um, so it
so,
became kind of
so this exhibition was titled.
the cave-like structure is a kind of big insect, and I created a kind of insect world inside it, and it's suspended. This one is suspended in the middle, and all around it was the tree plants, and when you entered inside the insect, you can see the plant one side. So one go in and come out, and it is also like when many people are inside. So the feet looks like as the insect is having it's
Yeah.
scrolling kind of thing. So that feeling is there.
So I have also heard you compare this whole exhibition to creating a jungle, and where there are plants all around, and then there is the insect world in between, and this large insect, almost looks like to me, some kind of a prehistoric Paleozoic era insect. Uh, and almost also like a cave, which you can go inside. So, and inside the cave there are a lot of kind of cave paintings or insect drawings. So that's also very interesting, this kind of play that you call it an insect, but it can also be maybe read in different ways.
It's not coming very well. Anyway, um, uh, I mean, what did you say? I couldn't understand.
No, I'll
I
repeat
couldn't.
myself. Can you hear me?
It's cutting. Uh,
Can you hear
no,
me?
it's like cutting. Like it's not the.
Yeah. So I was saying that I've read
It's
that
not
you've.
coming very well. I can't hear you very well.
Let me turn off my video as well, so then maybe it might be a little
Ma'am, your
better.
voice is clear.
It is clear?
Hello?
Yes, it's clear.
Jayashree, can you hear me now?
Not very
Hello?
clear.
Uh, I think
Yeah,
again there's.
it's not very clear. I can hear you. It's not clear. I can make out what you are saying.
Okay, I will speak very slowly, so then maybe you can hear. So I was very interested with the fact that the central form, which you call a large insect, also feels like a cave, which one could go in and see a lot of cave paintings. And the works all around look like a forest. It's a complete natural habitat, something that goes back to a kind of a prehistoric era almost. Is Joshua still there? Hello?
Hello?
Joshua, could you hear me now?
কিছু শুনতে পাচ্ছি না ঠিক করে।
আমার মনে হয় তোমার নেটওয়ার্কটা আবার একটু প্রবলেম করছে, because Shreyasi can hear me. Would you
Yes.
like to log back in again?
Again,
তুমি কি
okay.
হ্যাঁ আরেকবার লগ
করছি
ইন
আমি।
করো। হ্যাঁ, sure, thanks. Meanwhile, to all our friends and viewers, do write in your questions. We will address these towards the end. Facebook viewers, also write in your questions. I will take these, and it's just that the network is really bad. At my end, there's a thunderstorm raging. I don't know if you can hear the lightning. We've already got some questions from Facebook people. Shreyasi, keep a account of all the questions, because if I get logged out, then I can't really access the earlier questions.
Yes, ma'am, we'll keep a.
Yes, thank you. So let me just scroll forward. So this exhibition was called Earth as Haven Under the Canopy of Love. This was curated by Rubina Karoreji, and it was shown, it was specifically made for the Musée Guimet, Paris, and later it was also shown at the CSMV in Mumbai and Kiran Nadar Museum earlier this year from January onwards. Let's wait for Jayashree to join back in. Meanwhile, I'll keep showing you the images. I think these are images of people standing inside the insect-like form. And as there are a lot of images and textures created in the under the canopy, uh, I think the viewers were encouraged to use torches or torchlights, some kind of a light uh, to look at them and experience them. Shirsi, can you call her up and see whether we can have her back? This is the same exhibition images from the installation at the Jahangir Nicholson Art Foundation at the CMVS Mumbai in 2019. Um, So this is an installation view, and as you can see on the left-hand side is the painting that we had seen as really significant when she was starting out towards this.
Jayashree is joining back.
Okay, great. So here was the painting where she was talking about the imaginary flora and fauna within a landscape where nature was slowly vanishing. She came back with her parents to live in Kolkata and Salt Lake when Salt Lake was still a marshy land, and there was a lot of natural bounty. And as you can see, there's this, what I feel, this large fish right up front, almost breathing its last, maybe, because its habitat is there, not there anymore, and behind it, almost an aerial view of a landscape, of an urban landscape teeming with concrete jungle, as she calls it. So the concrete jungle takes over the natural one and displaces it. This is again an installation view from the CMVS Mumbai, and you can see in the forefront and at the back 2 vitrines with her work, her material, and how she experiments. Shresi, we still haven't got her back.
No, I don't think. I think she's facing some network issue for which she's
Okay,
not being able
so
to connect.
we'll wait for her. I think everybody's patiently waiting for her to join back. In the meantime, let me just slowly keep showing the images. So these are experiments on paper with regards to different kind of materials that she embeds within her work. So what I really find interesting is how this language, where she's embedding material and then also backlighting it so that we can see what has been embedded. So in a way, as I think mentioned earlier, it illuminates hidden secrets. So what I find interesting is how she has linked this kind of art making to very personal incidents in her life. Um, I don't know, because my connection was bad. I don't know whether she mentioned it. I got cut off during that question that I asked her about her mother and how she equates her mother's prolonged illness in a way to the kind of material that she has used when she embeds these leaves and vegetation. With time, these decay. And I have heard her say, I had made a note of this, that when her mother was unwell, she was almost decaying. So in a way, she could also see the plants rotting and decaying, and she links this to life and death. And on the other side, her father was a doctor, and she got the idea of the X-ray. And as
Jayashree is
X-rays,
here.
Yeah, do you hear me?
yes,
Yes.
Joyshri, I've been trying to hold fort, waiting for you.
But I can't get the video thing. So I can't put it on only. Now I can see you. I can see the whatever you are showing.
Okay.
I can see the screen, but I cannot find that video.
No,
Video sign.
no matter. Your
Start
sound
my
is
video.
clear. Let's go with the sound. I was just showing our audience who've been waiting quite patiently, and we have got a lot of questions already. So I was just showing them the various installation views. After Gime, I have been showing them the CMVS installation views. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so this is in KNMA earlier this year, and I was able to download an excerpt of the. So let's just look at it while we talk. So can you tell me how? So I think when we got cut off, what I was trying to ask you was that this insect-like form can also be read as a cave within which one goes, and there's so much of cave painting, like drawings in there. It can also be like a large animal skeleton, and there's almost a jungle around it. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
I thought, well, when I did, I thought that it's a big insect.
Right.
I thought it's we, like the way we are. So that is what I wanted to. That was my feeling. But when you go inside, that you got to have a light, and then you can find the insect world inside. So that is what was my idea of doing this particular work. Do you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. And I thought that this was an interesting video because it kind of gives the people who have not been to your exhibitions a feel of how it feels to be inside the structure. So I think it shows a little bit of that, and that this creation of a very dark environment, and then the light kind of reveals all the structures that you have put inside. Could you tell us a little about the material that goes into making this kind of a structure, and how do you then take it from as a traveling show from one place to the other? Hello?
What? Yeah. Could, like when I'm putting it on, I can't hear you properly. But when otherwise, that when I'm not on the screen or anything, like that time I can hear you all right. Why
So
I can't hear you? I cannot understand.
I think it's just because of the network at your end. Don't worry, you can put off the video for right now. Once we stop sharing the images, I will ask you to put your video back on. I think then it will be okay. There's some issues right now with the video.
What did you ask me?
So I was just asking you about the material and the structure and how such a big exhibition travels from one place to the other.
Okay, everything, the structure can one can dismantle, and the papers can be rolled. So that is how it went there. In several boxes. It can be rolled, or everything can get rolled. So big rolls are there, fat, big roll.
So it doesn't do anything or destroy or crumple up all the material that you have put into
No,
the.
it doesn't, because while rolling it up, we took a lot of care, and that is how it's been rolled, with lots of uh, plastics, and then other kind of papers and many things. So nothing happened. Foam, plastic, bubble sheet. So nothing happened. Nothing happened so far.
Right. So maybe we can look through these images and then we can come to the question answers, because we've had a lot of question answers already. And then, so these are some of the details of the panels, the backlit panels. So Jayashree,
Yeah,
what kind of
yeah.
materials, what kind of plants or materials have you embedded? Because sometimes it looks like a whole small plant has been embedded, and sometimes it looks like, you know, there are roots and seeds.
Whatever comes in my way, like whatever I see that if it is interesting for me, I just bring it and put them into the water and into water, and then I paste it gradually. So it takes little time, but yeah, like it can be anything, like whatever is interesting for me. While working, definitely, like when I see any form, anything, like I feel that yes, I can probably uh, use it for my work. My problem is a very peculiar problem I have while doing this work, that while I am doing the work, I really can't see the result. I can see the result maybe next day, or it has to be like at least 12 hours. I'll have to, when I put the fan on and then it dries up, then only I can what is the result. So that becomes a problem. Problem in the sense, okay, I enjoy it. Now it's like this is how it should be, and the decision I cannot take immediately. Maybe that I see it later, and maybe see it later, and then I can take decision. Okay, these are the areas that I will have to improvise. So that is how I am doing. And
Right.
also the material also accordingly I choose, and I go and bring it.
Right. So Jayashree, there are a lot of questions. Let's go right into them. I think a lot of questions on Facebook as well. So Uttara Rajgopal asks, she wants to ask the artist about the importance of scent, smell as a sensation in experiencing her artwork, and whether that was a conscious decision or happy accident as a result of embedding plants and seeds in the canvas paper constructions.
The smell actually, like it was later we thought about it, that if there is a smell of art is there, so maybe that's really that would really that would go the work. But that is maybe my curator's idea, and I thought that that was great, so we used that one kind of smell. But otherwise, like bringing the all the uh, organic thing in the work, so it has got nothing to do with the smell, because no smell, actual smell is not there.
So did you ever think about adding any material that would retain the scent after you know, certain time, or add the element of another kind of sensation, you know, another kind of sensorium to your work? Did you think of that?
Another kind of
Sensation, you know, like you can see it, you can you know, even smell it, then that might be very interesting.
actually, like while working, like how you'll see it, that is what is the main criteria. And all other things, like suppose the smell and all this, definitely adds a lot. Every little thing adds a lot. But as work progress, many things keeps coming, like the light, the way you install it, the way you focus certain areas. So everything comes very slowly, in one go it comes. It takes decision, and then gradually it starts working. And if it doesn't work, then we rethink about it and then something else, some other decision. So that's how it is.
Right. So Ananya Dattagupta asks, and her question is quite interesting because I was also thinking that about this. She asked that she's reminded by your embedding of actual foliage of the 19th century practice of maintaining a herbarium, which involved, pinning actual foliage onto notebooks. And I remember having done this myself when we were kids. My mother used to show me how to identify plants and add into notebooks. So she wanted, Ananya wants to know a little more about your philosophy behind using foliage. Are you trying to make a second home for them on your page or trying to give back to nature?
Actually, the way we learned it when we were small, we were young. At that time, it was like you were picking up one particular flower or one particular leaf, and you are trying to keep it in or save it. Here, what I have done is not the same thing at all. It's a kind of whatever I am bringing, that is because that I want to create something with that. True I'm creating. So it's not that one particular leaf I am collecting or one particular way I'm doing it. It's not that it won't resemble anything that which is really existing. It's something else that which will give a shape of plant or not the actual plant. Sometimes it is not even the plant; it is only the twigs, or it is only another kind of moss or something, anything, or sometimes it's just a jute which is creating that kind of visual.
Right. Now electricity has gone off at my end, so you would be seeing me as a very ghostly dark figure.
Electricity is gone.
Yes. So I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm right now. But anyways, so Charlie Holt says,
Yeah.
I find the backlit work very successful. You feel as though you walk into them from illusions of reality. The inclusion of natural objects that are combined with drawn and painted imagery create a new dialogue, which is all consuming, all enveloping. They are very inviting, drawing you into another world. So it's an observation. It's not a question, but Charlie loves he loves the backlit work. Thank you, Charlie. Jayashree, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So here comes my candle. It's now officially a candle-lit conversation. Uh, let me ask another question. Mm, Sangeeta K asks, what circumstances or inspirations made you try the large paper constructions?
Huh?
What
Large.
circumstances or inspiration made you try large paper construction?
I had actually working on large pieces always. That is even the paintings. Like I love to do big, large painting because I can be with that one work for say about 6 months or maybe 1 year, and that I really enjoy being with one work, one kind of experience, several days, and the kind of friendship or a kind of being together, that kind of feeling. Uh, because there's so many things that one learn from each work. So that is while working only one can understand that so many things are there. Said more the area is big, you learn even more. That's what I feel. It may not be true for everybody, but for me maybe it works in this way.
Right. So Sujata Singh asks, how does the use of organic material affect the archival quality
What
of the work? How does the use of organic material
what
aff- how does the use of organic materials affect the archival quality of the work?
This process, like I've been working since I think about 92, 93. At that time, I was not using material, but later on, I started using. That is also now quite a few years. So far, it's all right. I mean, I do not know. It's new to me also, but it is. I mean, the way I make it should remain all right. That's what I feel. But again, I do not know. Maybe 100 years or 200 years. That I do not know. I have got no idea.
Ujjal Dey asks, how is the use of acrylic colors and natural materials together significant and relevant in one work when you simultaneously use them? Using natural material and synthetic materials together in one work, what is the significance?
See that the red color is acrylic and it can survive and it can remain as it is. And so that is what I am using acrylic color. But it's the main, not the main thing. Like I use very little color actually. And mostly it's the tea stain, coffee stain, and sometimes the pigments that I use. But some acrylic color, definitely, I love to use. So there is no significance or anything, but we get the paint, and it is basically. I have not such the problem that I won't be able to use this. I won't be able to use that because there is nothing, nowhere it's written that if you use organic material, you cannot use synthetic color. I'm using stick glue over there. So why I use that synthetic glue? So that way the many thing comes there. You become, everything should be organic, and that way I can do the work. So whatever if I want to do the work the way I feel that yes, I make the work in this way, I will go. I will listen to myself in that way. Yeah.
Okay. So Bhairavi Doshi asks, what is the process of drying the natural plants? And do you sandwich that in layer of what kind of paper?
What is the process of
Process drying the plants. Drying.
drying?
Yeah. How do you dry the plants? And how do you sandwich it?
I mostly pick up dry things, or in case if I find certain thing which is not dry, I keep it in the house like for several days, few months, and then I start using. And sometime if it is the plant is tender, I can use that also straight away. Normally, it's dry things I make, the flowers and all. So I keep it, it gets dry, I start using it. So normally, it is often like that only.
Okay, so Darshana Bajaj asks, as opposed to paintings that can be purchased by people, this seems radical. Is this made just for exhibiting? She's asking, Darshana is asking, are these works made only for exhibiting, or are these also purchased by people?
Yeah, like, yes, my gallery sells.
Sorry?
Yes, my gallery sell these work, like, but if it's a huge work, I do not know. I mean, institution has to buy. If the institution is buying, that is always possible. In a house, like I do not know how to install it in that way. It has to go to the institution, museums.
So Sabita, yeah, of course.
If at all
Sabita,
is possible.
Sabita Lakshmanan asks, How long does it take approximately for a single large work to get relatively complete from its conception?
How, first
How,
thing,
how long? কত সময় লাগে একটা কাজ শেষ
how
করতে?
long?
Does it take for a large?
কতদিন লাগে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ. How long
It's
does
no
it take?
idea. Because I always say that I come back to work in ending, because say I start a work, so I do it for 2 months, and then I feel, well, I'm exhausted, I can't it's solve it, because there are many things, many problems you got to solve in one work. I keep it aside, I don't for maybe another month, and then again come back to the work. In between, I may start another work. I do start early, and then I learn things from the next work, and then I come again the previous work. So it's like when I create a show, so for 1.5 years or 2 years, I go on coming back to the previous work, and then it's like on to it. And again, I said that maybe like I also often I mean that I feel that, well, it's absolutely complete, but then after 6 months or 8 months, I thought, no, not complete, so I have to do it again. So I'm doing it again. So gallery gets very disturbed that you never say that your work is complete. It's like that.
Right. So
I think
Rajendra,
at least one show would take me about 1.5 year time minimum. Say about eight paintings I'll be able to do. So far, till now, I can make 8 paintings, but drawings in between I keep doing, and I love doing drawings. I'm very happy with that, because in the drawing, it's a natural line that I try to bring. So I try my best for that.
right. Shayani Chakrabarty asks, do you consider process as important as the final artwork? Is
Process as a fine artwork.
process as important as the final artwork?
Process is very much, my work is process-oriented work. It requires a tremendous amount of time and tremendous amount of work is very much necessary. Maybe like for everyone is doing like that. Everyone has got the one kind of process of doing the work. But in my my work, like especially whether it's a canvas or a paper, it needs so many layers of like uh, not only paper layer, it's like layered with material, so that takes a lot of time to dry, and then again revisiting and reworking. So it's no end to it. Like I really don't know like which one will take what kind of, but only I understand nowadays the backlit work. If I do, I did before some backlit work, and that takes little less time, because it's like almost like you cannot go on doing it like watercolor. You just cannot go on doing it. So
Yes.
backlit work is also like that. You can't go on doing it. You'll have to decide first, well, these are the things I'm doing, and very one has to do it, I mean, more carefully. Whereas if it's not backlit, if it is not translucent, then there is no end to it. I mean, it takes several months.
Sanjay Matre says he loves the sheer intensity, involvement, and application in your work. He asks, do you ever sign your works since you keep on evolving each time you look at them, even much later?
Often do not sign the work except the canvas, uh, and the drawings. There I sign on the back side, not on the work. because I don't like it. And but these large installations, I can sign it anywhere. I don't sign. It's like the paper is made by my gallery, then I sign that.
Right. So Aranya Bhomik on Facebook asks, your process involves a kind of metamorphosis of multiple materials. Can you please elaborate on your engagement with this practice and the idea behind this?
Actually, like, at, since long time, it's like that. I live with it, live with my work. Everybody does. I mean, whoever is working. Uh, so it's not that the materials. There is nothing like this that I said it before, that you can't use this, you can't use that, or you'll have to use this, or you will have to use that. It's a big freedom, and acquired freedom, because if you're free to choose your material, if you're thinking that, well, these are the things now I can use, and tomorrow I feel okay, this is not right, so I'll have to choose something else. So I go and try to find all those things. So it is like that. I mean, there is no end to it. There is no to it.
Okay, so I'll take a couple of more questions before we come to the end of session. But please don't leave. I have an announcement to make. Um, someone asks, can you please share your suggestion for young artists?
I think Mr. Bose Krimachari, the way he said, it's a fantastic thing he said, that you go on working. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, even now I feel I should go on working. I mean, his words are like God's word kind of thing, that everybody has to go on working only, and that only answer the questions. Whatever question occurs in mind, that answers, only the work can answer. The real practice, proper practice.
Right. So thank you so much, Jayashree. Although we've had a number of issues with connection and lightning and thunderstorm, but we have prevailed.
So I didn't hear properly. So that became really. But thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be with you, answering all the questions. Whatever I could, whatever I could hear, I could answer.
No, thank you so much. And to all our viewers here as well as on Facebook, I have a couple of announcements to make. One being, please share your feedback on contact@emamiart.com and follow Emami Art on the Facebook and Instagram pages for more updates. And secondly, we are going to start a documentary film festival from the 12th to the 31st of July this month, and showing the works of four very important documentary filmmakers from across India. And we will be screening 8 films, and there will be conversations with the filmmakers and panel discussions. So please do keep a lookout for these announcements. So with that, we come to the end of this episode, as well as this module of Conversations 1.3. Hope to come back soon again with more such interesting conversations. Jayashree, on behalf of Richa, I thank you. As you know, she couldn't be here because she's in another meeting. But
Yeah.
thank you very, very much
Too.
for coming and doing this. And a lot of people are, in the chat, they are thanking you. Somebody says it was so interesting conversation. Uh, somebody's, I think, saying you did a great job in spite of all this. Thank you very much, because it is a challenge. Uh, it is a challenge where you are trying to talk to people across cities in, in thunderstorms and without electricity, although it has come back right now. And Sabita says, unbelievably beautiful. Jayashree, have you put me on?
I can hear.
You put me on speaker. Okay. So yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for making this success, this series. Come back to you very soon. Jayashree.
Yes.
Have a good evening.
Shunacho.
হ্যাঁ শুনতে পাচ্ছি
Okay. Thank you.